Okay, well, here we are today with Andy Powers from Taylor Guitars. We're going to talk about a couple of the newer things they're doing. One thing I've noticed you've been doing have been 12-fret guitars. It's something that was done a lot in the past. It was kind of forgotten about. Now it's back. What's the story?
Well, basically the 12-fret neck length goes back a long ways into the guitar history. I mean, it was kind of a holdover from lute tradition, really, as the guitar was developed. And so for years and years, this was kind of the right geometry for a guitar. Now, back in the 30s, late 20s, 30s, you started seeing a lot of banjo players cross over into the guitar world. The sound of the guitar was becoming more popular, and the banjo was starting to fall out of popularity amongst the dance bands. So a lot of those guys, they were used to this real long, skinny neck, and they wanted the extra accessibility that you get with a longer neck. Well, that became kind of the common form of acoustic guitar, with the neck joining to the body at the 14th fret. But what's interesting is this geometry still works very good for a guitar. What's fascinating to me as a builder is the different relationship you get behind putting the vibrating length of the string in a different relationship on the body. Basically, where the bridge, or more importantly, where the saddle falls, is significantly different. The top of the guitar responds vastly different than it would for a 14-fret design. The different neck length has a different flexing profile. So overall, the whole guitar starts to take on a different character. Even though maybe the outline, the shape of the guitar stays the same, the depth can stay the same, the response from the guitar is a lot different.
And I noticed the slotted headstock. Is there any difference in the break angle on the strings? I hear some people claim. Is that?
Well, if you look at it, the difference there is you do have more downward pressure against the nut. Okay, that's fair, because as the string passes over the nut, rather than meeting the tuning post way up on top of the headstock, you're meeting it like halfway down onto the roller. So you've got a much steeper break angle. What that does is it creates a little more firm termination point here. At the same time, because I'm driving the top from a more flexible portion, I have a little more flexibility over here and a little more stiffness right here. On a 14-fret design, typically that's reversed.
Okay.
So you do get a little bit of a difference there. It's subtle, it's splitting hairs. But if we're going to split hairs, yes, there is a difference.
Okay. And so the 12-fret model is available as a special order, and is it the standard thing on?
Yeah, it's become a standard thing as part of certain series.
Okay.
It's like our new 600 series. I wanted to include in our grand concert body, the smallest shape we're making, both a 14-fret version and a 12-fret version. They both have the exact same scale length, which is the vibrating length of the string, the same outline of the body, but because they work in such different ways, they have two totally different personalities. So as I was designing those guitars, I wanted to emphasize that. The 14-fret version naturally has this real articulate, chiny, kind of intimate voice. The 12-fret version has more of almost like a swagger in the mid-range. It's got kind of a little bit of attitude in there, It's got a little more Mick Jagger kind of thing going on. So there are two really different guitars that are both very good instruments. They both deserve to live.
Okay, great. Well, that brings up the 600, and the thing that's interesting to me about that is Taylor has been doing maple guitars from the beginning, but they seem to come and go in terms of popularity, and it looks like you're really making a big push with maple. Why maple these days?
Well, for years, maple has been, it's kind of been relegated to as almost like a side dish kind of wood, where the kind thing that we can say is, well, it amplifies well. It's a good stage guitar, or something like that. And I don't think that's fair, because doesn't seem appropriate to me to take a design that a builder would intend for rosewood or mahogany, take the rosewood or mahogany off and put maple on in its place and expect it to work the same way. That's just not fair, and that's, I think, somewhat inappropriate. So what I wanted to do was looking farther ahead, going, well, 30, 40 years from now, I want to be building guitars with wood. And I look around the condition the condition of the forest worldwide, okay, well, about the time that our demand for the most rare, the most exclusive woods is at its highest, those forests are becoming stressed to a point where they can't really keep up. So I go, okay, that model is going to fall apart at some point, and I don't want to be contributing to it.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to do is count on wood that I know that will be available. Well, we have a really good friend in Steve McMinn, who's the owner and the proprietor of Pacific Rim Tonewoods, where they cut almost all of the spruce for most of the guitars built in the U.S. He's been embarking on a project to propagate instrument-grade maple trees, to really develop that in a way that 1 generation from now, that wood will be available, and it will be like farm-to-table guitar making.
Okay.
So this is wood that we're seeing now, and going, wow, we could build incredible instruments out of that wood. I'd love to be part of that.
Okay.
So 20 years from now, maple is going to be a wood that I will have available to me. Aside from it's readily available now. And as a guitar builder and kind of an instrument historian in a way, I look back and go, well, I built mandolins with maple, I built archtop guitars. The entire violin community has insisted on nothing but spruce and maple for the last several hundred years. Well, maple's got a lot going for it. Just in the flat top world, it hasn't been quite as accepted as some of the more conventional rosewoods or mahoganies. So that's what I wanted to change, is I wanted to build an instrument that was compelling in the way that some of those other more typical acoustic flat top guitar woods are.
Okay. Have you ever considered, in the 20s, birch and oak were popular, and those?
They were.
Any thoughts of maybe doing a series of guitars in those woods?
At some point.
We do occasionally get limited runs of very exotic woods, but very unexotic woods might be an interesting take.
Yeah, it is. And that's something that I, as a guitar builder, I'm interested in pursuing, those kinds of woods, because I don't want somebody to look at the guitar and say, well, I must have it because it's the most rare, the most exotic, the most flamboyant, or the most highly decorated or something. Those are all fine reasons to own an instrument. That's great. I've got nothing really against that. But what really kind of gets me excited is to look at the guitar as a musical instrument. Think musically, what makes a good instrument? And the fact of the matter is that a lot of good instruments can be made from a lot of what we see as humble materials,
right?
Or available materials, even economic or ecologically minded materials. Something that in 20, 30, 40 years' time, go, this is the right choice. This is us being a responsible steward with these resources.
Well, there's the phrase I've heard in some of the Luther conventions that wood doesn't grow on trees anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Wood doesn't grow on trees.
And so it's become a rare commodity in and of itself. So
it is.
Well, great. Well, thank you very much. And
thanks for having me.
And we do have, we've got the 12 frets in stock in a variety of styles. We also stock the Maple 600 series. So stop on by and give them a try. Thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Okay, bye-bye.